The night that changed everything. Night air was colder than usual. People hurried down the street with their coats pulled tight and heads down. The city lights blinked through the fog, and the sidewalks were nearly empty. It was the kind of night when nobody wanted to be outside longer than they had to. But Keanu Reeves wasn't rushing. He had just left a late charity event and decided to walk the last few blocks to his hotel. Instead of taking a car, he liked walking, even in the cold. It gave him time to breathe, to think, and sometimes to notice things others might miss. As he turned down a quieter street, something caught his eye near the entrance of a closed bakery. It was small, unmoving. At first, he thought it was a bundle of blankets, but as he got closer, he realized it was a child, a little girl, curled up on the icy ground with nothing but a thin sweater and torn jeans. Her fingers were red and shaking, her nose was running, and her eyes were wide open. But they weren't filled with fear. They were filled with something even heavier. Hopelessness. Keanu stopped in his tracks. He looked around. No one else was there, just him and her. He knelt down slowly, speaking softly. "Hey, are you okay?" The girl didn't answer. Her lips moved, but no sound came. She tried to sit up, but her body gave up. She leaned against the cold wall behind her and closed her eyes. Keanu took off his coat without thinking. It was a thick, black wool coat, warm, expensive, but none of that mattered now. He wrapped it around the girl gently and lifted her into his arms. She didn't resist. She was too tired, too cold, too weak, but before her eyes closed again, she whispered something, so soft he barely heard it. "You're kind." Keanu didn't say anything back. He just held her tighter. He walked as fast as he could, shielding her from the wind with his own body. People stared as he passed. Some recognized him. Some didn't, but no one stopped him. When he reached the emergency room of a nearby hospital, he burst through the doors and called out, "Please, she needs help." Nurses rushed over and took the girl from his arms. They asked him questions, her name, her age. What happened? He didn't have answers. He didn't even know her name. All he knew was that she needed someone. And somehow, he had become that someone. Hours passed. Keanu waited in the hallway. He didn't want to leave. He couldn't. Something about that little girl, it stirred something inside him. A feeling he hadn't felt in a long time. Something deep. Something personal. Finally, a doctor came out. "She's stable now," he said. "Severe hypothermia, some bruises, but she'll recover." Keanu let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Then he asked the question he hadn't dared to ask until now. "Did she say anything? Her name, where she's from?" The doctor paused, then nodded. "Her name is Mia. She's 7, and she hasn't said much. But she keeps asking if the man who gave her the coat is still here." Keanu's eyes filled with tears. He wiped them quickly and stood up. "Can I see her?" The doctor nodded. When Keanu walked into the small hospital room, Mia turned her head slowly. Her face was pale, her hair messy. But when she saw him, she smiled. A small, tired smile. "You came back." Keanu sat beside her bed and nodded. "I never left." They didn't say much after that, but they didn't need to. Sometimes the quiet speaks louder than words. Keanu didn't know why the moment hit him so hard. Maybe it was her eyes. Maybe it was the way she reminded him of someone from long ago. Or maybe it was just that she was a child, alone in a world that had forgotten her. And for one night, he had been the only one who remembered. What Keanu didn't know was that this moment would not end here. It was just the beginning of something that would change both their lives forever. The story behind her silence. Keanu stayed by Mia's bedside most of the night. The hospital room was quiet, with only the soft beeping of machines and the occasional whisper of nurses in the hallway. He watched her sleep, her tiny fingers still clutching the edges of his coat, like it was a lifeline. Outside, the city moved on, but in that room, time had slowed. Around 5 a.m., she stirred. Her eyes opened slowly when she saw Keanu sitting there with his arms folded and head down. She smiled again. It was faint but real. He looked up and returned the smile. "Did you sleep okay?" he asked gently. Mia nodded. Keanu reached for a paper cup of water on the side table and handed it to her. She took it with both hands, sipping carefully. Then, after a long pause, she whispered something. "My mommy." She didn't come back. Keanu felt something twist in his chest. He leaned in, trying not to overwhelm her. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Mia looked down at her lap. Her lips trembled, and her voice was barely there. "She told me to wait outside the store. She said she'd be quick. I waited a long time. It got cold. I was hungry, but I stayed, just like she said. Then it got dark, and she still didn't come." Keanu reached out and held her small hand. "How long ago was that?" She shrugged, eyes wide with confusion. "I don't know. Maybe 2 days?" Keanu blinked slowly. 2 days. A child waiting outside a store for her mother, not knowing she'd been abandoned. His heart broke quietly, without sound. "Do you know where you live?" he asked softly. Mia shook her head. "We moved a lot. Sometimes we stayed in the car, sometimes a motel. But the car was gone too. When I went back, it wasn't there." Keanu knew now. Mia had been left behind, and she didn't even realize it fully yet. She still believed her mother might come back. He didn't know what to say. All the wisdom and kindness in the world didn't feel like enough in that moment. "Do you have any other family?" he asked. She shook her head again. "Anyone I can call? A teacher? A friend?" Mia whispered. "No one." Keanu sat back. Silence filled the room, and in that silence, something changed inside him. He had met many people in his life, been through a lot, seen pain, loss, joy, love. But something about this little girl, he couldn't walk away. He would in single quotes T. After a while, a nurse came in and smiled. "She's strong," the nurse said. "We'll need to involve social services. But she's lucky she had you." Keanu nodded. "Can I stay with her a bit longer?" The nurse smiled. "Of course. She seems to trust you." Later that morning, a woman from Child Services arrived. She was kind and professional, but also firm. Her name was Sarah. She carried a tablet and a folder, and she sat down with Keanu outside the room. "We're going to do our best to find her family," she said. "But if what she says is true, and there's no record of any stable home, then she may end up in foster care." Keanu frowned. "She's just 7. That system. It's not easy for a kid like her." Sarah nodded. "You're not wrong." Keanu looked at the closed hospital door behind him. "What if I helped?" he asked suddenly. "What do you mean?" "I don't know yet, but I want to be in her life somehow." Sarah studied him carefully. "You're a good man, Mr. Reeves, but this will take time. Background checks, paperwork. You can't just take her home because you found her, even if your heart's in the right place." Keanu nodded. "I understand, but please, keep me informed." Sarah promised she would dot back in the hospital room. Mia was coloring with a crayon someone had brought her. Keanu watched her for a moment. She looked so small on that bed, and yet there was something strong about her, something unbreakable. "What are you drawing?" he asked. "A coat," she said with a shy smile. "Like yours." Keanu laughed softly. "You can keep it. It's yours now." She smiled wider. Then she looked up at him and asked something he wasn't ready for. "Are you gonna leave too?" He froze. It was such a simple question, but the weight behind it crushed him. "No," he said firmly. "I'm not going anywhere." And in that moment, Keanu made a silent promise. Whatever it took, he would make sure this little girl would never feel forgotten again. But neither of them knew. Someone else had been watching, someone who knew the truth about Mia's mother, and they were about to bring danger into their lives. A stranger in the hallway. Keanu left the hospital that afternoon with a heavy heart. He had promised Mia he would return the next day, and she had made him pinky swear it. Her tiny hand wrapped around his finger like she was holding on for dear life. Even after he walked out, he could still feel the weight of that promise in his chest. Outside, the wind was calmer, but the chill remained. Keanu put his hands in his pockets and started walking. He needed air, space, time to think. Everything in his life had changed in one night. He hadn't planned any of this. He had just seen a little girl on the sidewalk, and his heart refused to let him pass by. But now he was in deep, emotionally, spiritually, and he didn't regret it. But as he turned the corner, something strange happened. A man stepped out from behind a parked car. He was tall, wearing a worn leather jacket, and had a long scar on his cheek. His eyes were sharp to sharp, and he looked directly at Keanu with a crooked smile. "You the one who brought the girl in?" the man asked. Keanu paused, his body tensing slightly. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer the question. Instead, he took a step closer. "That girl, you don't know who she is, do you?" Keanu narrowed his eyes. "She said her name is Mia. She was left outside a store. Do you know her?" The man let out a short, cold laugh. "Oh, I know her, and trust me, you don't want to get involved." Keanu's voice dropped. "I already am." The man tilted his head. "Then, you better be ready, because the people looking for that girl, they don't play nice." Before Keanu could respond, the man walked away, vanished into the alley like he'd never been there. Keanu stood frozen for a moment. Then he turned back toward the hospital, heart pounding. He rushed inside and asked to speak to Sarah, the woman from Child Services. When she arrived, he pulled her aside. "Do you know if Mia is in any kind of danger?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because someone just approached me. He knew her. He said there are people looking for her." "Dangerous people." Sarah frowned and opened her tablet. She tapped a few times, scanning the records. Then she shook her head slowly. "There's no file on her, no birth certificate, no school registration. She doesn't exist in the system." Keanu blinked. "How's that possible?" "Sometimes kids fall through the cracks," Sarah said. "If she was born outside of a hospital, never enrolled in school, moved around often, it happens. But we'll look deeper. I'll request a full investigation." Keanu wasn't satisfied. Something didn't feel right. He looked toward Mia's room, then back at Sarah. "If she's in danger, they'll come here. We need to protect her." Sarah nodded, more serious now. "I'll alert security, and I'll stay here overnight." Keanu made a decision right there. "I'm staying too." Inside her room, Mia was asleep. She looked peaceful, like the world hadn't touched her yet. But Keanu now knew that wasn't true. The world had touched her, and not gently. He sat by her side, watching her breathe. The hours passed slowly. Nurses moved through the halls, lights dimmed, voices softened. Then, just after midnight, the power flickered. Keanu stood up. The hallway lights buzzed, then went out. Emergency lights kicked in. A nurse ran by. "Generators on backup," she said. "Might be a fuse." Keanu's instinct screamed. Something was wrong. He stepped into the hallway just in time to see a shadow move near the elevator. He followed quickly, careful not to draw attention. A man in black was at the security desk, fiddling with wires. Keanu grabbed a chair and raised his voice. "Hey, what are you doing?" The man turned, startled, and ran. Keanu chased him down the hallway. His heart raced, footsteps echoing against the walls. The man reached the stairwell and threw the door open. Keanu followed without hesitation. They ran down to flights. Then the man slipped and crashed into a pile of cleaning supplies. Keanu pinned him. "Who sent you?" he demanded. The man growled. "You're protecting the wrong girl. She doesn't belong to you." Keanu's eyes burned with fire. "She doesn't belong to anyone. She's a child." The man twisted away and escaped out the emergency exit. Keanu didn't follow this time. He was already sprinting back upstairs to Mia's room. When he burst in, he found Sarah standing in front of the bed, wide-eyed. But Mia was safe, still asleep. Sarah looked at him. "What happened?" "Someone tried to cut the power," he said. "I chased him. He got away." Sarah sat down, her hands shaking slightly. "This is bigger than we thought." Keanu looked at Mia, then at Sarah. "You need to move her somewhere safe now." Sarah nodded. "I know a place. Private. Quiet. She'll be protected." And just like that, everything changed again. The next morning, Mia woke up in a different room, a cottage outside the city, with soft blankets, books on the shelf, and sunlight peeking through the curtains. Keanu was there. So was Sarah. "Where are we?" Mia asked. Keanu smiled. "Somewhere safe." But deep down, he knew safety was temporary. Whoever was after Mia wasn't done yet, and the truth about her past was about to change everything. The secret in the letter. The small cottage was hidden in the woods just outside the city. It belonged to one of Sarah's trusted contacts, an older couple who had once fostered children for years. Now retired, they still kept the home warm, clean, and ready in case a child needed quiet shelter. Mia had her own room, a cozy bed, and sunlight that spilled across the floor like a soft blanket. But even in this peaceful place, the air felt thick with worry. Keanu stood in the kitchen with Sarah. The window over the sink looked out into the trees. Birds chirped softly in the distance, but neither of them were at ease. They knew where she was. Keanu said quietly, "That man, the one who messed with the wires." He was too confident, too fast, like he had been watching. Sarah nodded. "I filed a formal report this morning. Local authorities are now involved, and I reached out to a contact at the federal level." Keanu raised an eyebrow. "FBI, yes, but it may take time. We're not a priority." "She should be," Keanu said sharply. Just then, Mia walked into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Keanu turned, his tone softening instantly. "Hey, good morning." Mia smiled, but it faded quickly. "I had a dream." "What kind of dream?" "My mommy was there," she said, but she wasn't smiling. She just kept saying, "Don't tell him anything." I don't know who she meant. Keanu glanced at Sarah, who was already making a mental note. Later that afternoon, while Keanu was reading a story to Mia in the living room, one of the older caretakers, a kind woman named Diane, came in holding a small brown box. "This was in her coat," Diane said. "The one she wore when you found her." Keanu took the box and opened it. Inside was a folded paper wrapped around a small plastic locket. The paper was old, torn at the edges. He unfolded it carefully. It was a letter, in shaky handwriting, to whoever finds her. "Please protect her. I had to disappear. They're watching. Mia is not safe. She knows nothing, and she must stay that way. Forgive me." There was no name, no signature, just a smear at the bottom that looked like it might have been a tear or blood. Keanu passed the note to Sarah, who read it silently, then looked up with a grim expression. "This is no accident," she whispered. "Mia was left for a reason." Keanu looked at Mia, who was now quietly braiding a doll's hair on the floor. "We need answers," he said. The next morning, they drove back into the city quietly, without drawing attention. Sarah stayed with Mia at the cottage while Keanu went alone. He started where it all began, the alley where he found her. He checked security cameras on nearby shops. Most said the footage had already been wiped, but one old pawn shop had a working camera pointed near the bakery. "You're lucky," said the old man behind the counter. "My son forgot to erase last week's tape." Keanu watched the screen, and then there she was. Mia, sitting on the sidewalk, bundled in her thin sweater, and then a woman, tall, dark hair, jeans and a hoodie, walked up to her, knelt, hugged her, and kissed her forehead. Then she walked away without looking back. Keanu froze the frame. The woman was Mia's mother, and behind her, just seconds later, was a black van parked at the corner. Two men inside, watching her. One of them had a scar on his cheek. Keanu took a photo of the screen with his phone and thanked the old man. He didn't know yet who the men were, but he knew one thing now with certainty: Mia's mother hadn't simply abandoned her. She had saved her. Keanu went to Sarah's office next. She stared at the photo in disbelief. "We need to know who that woman is. If she left that note, she might still be alive, hiding, or being hunted." Keanu nodded. "And whoever those men are, they're not just street thugs. They ran the image through facial recognition software. After several attempts, the system pinged. The woman's name was Elena Taylor, former lab assistant, employee at a tech research company that had shut down 5 years ago. After a scandal involving government contracts and missing documents, Sarah frowned. She was listed as missing 2 years ago. Then Mia was born just before she vanished. Keanu whispered. A deeper search revealed something else. Elena Taylor had filed a whistleblower report, claiming the company she worked for had developed illegal surveillance software, capable of tracking anyone, anywhere, without consent. The project had been shut down quietly, but some believed it still existed. Keanu single quotes S blood ran cold. You think Mia is connected to that? Sarah nodded slowly. Maybe not directly, but Elena ran. And if she had access to secrets, if she took something, they could be after her. And now they're after Mia. Keanu leaned back. He thought of that first night, the freezing street, the tiny child with no coat. And now, a growing web of secrets, lies, and danger. He looked at Sarah and said firmly, "We protect her, no matter what." But just then Sarah's phone rang. She answered, then went pale. When she hung up, her voice trembled. "They found the cottage. Mia's not safe anymore." Keanu's eyes went wide. "Where is she now?" "Still there. We need to move fast." Keanu grabbed his jacket. "We're bringing her back with us. I don't care what it takes. They're not getting her." But neither of them knew. The next 24 hours would change everything. The longest night. Keanu drove like never before. His hands were tight around the wheel, his eyes sharp, focused on the road. Sarah sat beside him, phone in hand, trying to reach Diane back at the cottage. The signal was weak. Her calls kept dropping. Every second felt like a punch to the chest. "We have to get there before they do," Keanu said, his voice tight. Sarah finally reached Diane's number. It rang once, then again, then clicked. "Hello." It was Diane. Her voice was shaking. "Diane, it's Sarah. Are you okay? Where's Mia?" "She's with me. We heard noises outside. Someone's circling the cottage. I locked the doors. She's scared." "Stay inside," Sarah said quickly. "We're 15 minutes away. Keep the lights off. Don't open the door for anyone." Keanu pressed the gas harder. The sky was dark now, clouds heavy, like they were waiting to cry. The road twisted through the woods, and every shadow looked like a threat. Keanu's heart beat louder than the engine. Finally, they reached the narrow dirt path leading to the cottage. It was quiet, too quiet. Keanu parked the car behind a group of trees. He turned to Sarah. "You go round the back. Make sure Diane and Mia stay inside. I'll check the front." Sarah nodded and slipped into the woods, flashlight in hand. Keanu moved quietly toward the front door, every step careful. The porch creaked under his boots. He could see the faint light of a lamp inside, and a small figure, Mia, peeking through the curtains. He knocked gently. The door opened just a crack. Diane's tired face appeared. "Keanu, it's okay," he whispered. "I'm here." She let him in quickly and locked the door again. Mia ran into his arms without a word. She was shaking. "I was scared," she whispered into his chest. "I know," he said, hugging her tightly. "You're safe now, I promise." But then a noise. Outside. Branches snapping. Diane backed up. Keanu looked at the window. A man was walking toward the house, slow, careful. Another shadow appeared behind him. Two of them. Sarah came in from the back door, pale. There's a third one circling the back. Keanu moved fast. He pulled a heavy dresser in front of the main door. "Mia," he said gently, kneeling. "I need you to go with Diane and Sarah into the back room. Lock the door and don't come out unless it's me." Mia nodded quickly. "But what about you?" He smiled softly. "I'll be fine." He watched them disappear into the back room, then turned to face the living room. A glass window shattered. One of the men reached inside to unlock the door. Keanu rushed forward and slammed it shut before it opened fully. He grabbed the nearest object, a fire poker, and swung it hard. The man yelled and backed off, blood dripping from his hand. But the other man kicked open the back door. Keanu ran, tackled him before he could step inside. They crashed into the hallway, knocking over picture frames and books. "You don't know what she is," the man growled. Keanu punched him hard. "She's a child." The man tried to reach into his coat. Something shiny, a weapon. Keanu pinned him with all of his weight and knocked the object away. It slid under the couch. Sarah grabbed it. It was a small syringe. "What the hell is this?" she whispered. "They were going to drug her," Keanu said breathlessly. "They were going to take her." Sirens in the distance. The men heard it too. One broke free and ran into the woods. The other lay groaning on the floor, holding his jaw. Minutes later, red and blue lights lit up the night. Police swarmed the property. Keanu sat on the porch steps, Breathing hard, blood on his knuckles, he watched as officers took statements, bagged the syringe, and handcuffed the man he had fought. Mia peeked from the door again, eyes wide. Keanu stood up and walked over. "It's over," he said. "Really?" He knelt down. "Yes, they're gone. And you were so brave." She wrapped her arms around him again. "Don't let them take me." He held her tighter. "Never." 2 days later, Keanu and Sarah sat in a government building, waiting. A federal agent stepped into the room. "Mr. Reeves, Ms. Sarah, we reviewed the footage, the letter, the threat, and after questioning the suspect, we confirmed that Mia's mother, Elena Taylor, is still alive. She's in witness protection. She left the girl behind to protect her from being used." Keanu's breath caught. "She's alive." "Yes, and she asked to meet the man who saved her daughter." Keanu sat in silence. "Can I see her?" he asked. The agent nodded. "Soon." But before that meeting could happen, Keanu had a more important task. He stood before a courtroom judge. "Your Honor," his voice steady, "I'm requesting temporary guardianship of Mia Taylor until her mother is safely located and reunited with her. I've been with her since the night I found her on the street. She trusts me, and I care for her." The judge looked at him, then at Mia, sitting beside Sarah in a little yellow dress. After a moment, the judge spoke. "Request granted." Keanu closed his eyes. Mia grabbed his hand tightly. "Does this mean I live with you now?" she asked. He smiled. "Yes, and you'll never be cold again." But just as they walked out of the courtroom, a car pulled up outside, and the woman who stepped out made Keanu freeze. It was Mia's mother. Alive and crying. The moment of truth. The door to the courthouse opened slowly. Keanu turned, holding Mia's hand in his. She was smiling, her new yellow dress glowing in the sunlight. But when he saw the woman stepping out of the black car, everything around him went still. It was her. The same woman from the video footage, the woman who kissed Mia goodbye that night. In the alley. Her hair was tied back now, her face thinner than before. But her eyes held the weight of 1,000 sleepless nights. And the moment she saw Mia, her whole body trembled. She whispered, "My baby." Mia looked up at Keanu, confused. "Who is that?" Keanu knelt beside her and gently squeezed her shoulder. "That's your mom, Mia." The little girl looked at the woman again. Something in her face changed, like a distant memory returning all at once. She blinked, then took a small step forward. "Mommy?" Elena dropped to her knees and opened her arms. Mia hesitated, then ran into them. They held each other tight, both crying, both shaking. Keanu stood back, watching the scene quietly. His heart swelled and ached all at once. This was what Mia had needed, what she had dreamed about, and now it was real. Sarah came up beside him and whispered, "You did it." "No," Keanu replied softly. "She did." Inside a quiet office room, later that day, Elena sat with Keanu and Sarah. Mia was playing outside with a toy dog someone had given her at the courthouse. Elena looked down, tears dripping onto her hands. "I never meant to leave her like that," she said. "But I knew they were close. I had information, dangerous stuff. The only way to keep her safe was to disappear. I thought they'd go after me, not her." Keanu nodded. "They did both." "I was wrong," Elena whispered. "I thought if I left her somewhere public, someone kind would find her. I didn't count on her being outside for 2 nights. I still can't forgive myself." "She forgave you the second she hugged you," Keanu said. Elena looked up at him. "Thank you for saving her, for loving her when no one else did." Keanu didn't say anything right away. He just smiled. Then he asked the question that had been sitting in his heart all day. "What happens now?" Elena took a deep breath. "The agency says I'll have to move again. New identity, new life. But this time, Mia comes with me. They said we could go together." Keanu's smile faded slightly. He had known this moment was coming. But now that it was here, it hurt. "Will she be safe?" Elena nodded. "Yes, they're relocating us far away. New names, full protection. We'll have a house, a school, everything. She'll never be on the streets again." Keanu looked at the floor, then up. "Can I say goodbye?" That evening, as the sun began to set, Keanu and Mia sat on a bench outside the courthouse. She was hugging her stuffed dog tightly. "Are you sad?" she asked. Keanu smiled gently, a little. But I'm also really happy. You get to be with your mom now. She loves you so much. I love you too, Mia said. I wish you could come with us. He pulled her into a hug. Me too, sweetheart. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be strong and kind and brave just like you've always been. Mia reached into her little backpack and pulled out something wrapped in a tissue. This is for you. Keanu opened it. It was the locket from the brown box, the one that had been with the letter. I want you to have it, she said, so you don't forget me. Keanu felt tears in his eyes. I'll never forget you, Mia. Not in a million years. She hugged him one last time. You gave me your coat, and you gave me hope. I'll never forget that either. 3 weeks later, Keanu sat in his apartment. He kept the locket on the bookshelf beside a photo he had taken with Mia the day she left. He still walked the streets some nights, still noticed people others didn't see, and sometimes he'd catch a glimpse of a little girl's laugh in the wind or the warmth of a hug that still lingered. Then one day, he received a small envelope. No return address. Inside was a drawing crayon on paper. A house. A dog, a woman with dark hair, and a man with long hair and a kind smile. The words at the bottom said, Dear Keanu, we're happy. I miss you. Love, Mia. And beneath that, a little heart. He smiled. Sometimes all it takes is one coat on a freezing night and a heart willing to care.